Happy Friday, everyone. May 15th. So I love listening to podcasts, and I definitely have a sort of a tendency I skew towards. Yeah, I love philosophy and obviously this sort of mental health space that I work in. And so there's a podcast I was listening to with Sam Harris speaking with Michael Pollan. He's the author of, he wrote a great book called How to Change Your Mind about psychedelics. And his latest book, which I haven't read yet, is about consciousness. And so I've been sipping on consciousness the last few days, and so I hope this works. Sometimes I want to sort of branch out and try to do some different things. So hopefully today will land in a meaningful way. So this is David Chalmers, and the question here is, what is consciousness exactly? So here's what he has to say. It's awfully hard to define consciousness, but I'd start by saying that it's the subjective experience of the mind and the world. It basically is what it feels like from the first being point of view to be experiencing, perceiving, even thinking and judging. So I love that he says first being point of view, because consciousness is not limited to us humans. If I look at my dog Bruno, he's clearly conscious, and right, he has a subjective experience of what it's like to be him. And the part that I think that the gateway into sort of compassion and the stuff that we do here in terms of consciousness is the realization that it is impossible for me to ever really fully understand what it's like to be him. It's also impossible for me to fully know what it's like to be any of you, and vice versa. So there's something pretty interesting about consciousness. So it's like, clearly, you look at a puppy or a dog, you look at them and say, yeah, there's consciousness there. There's the dog has a subjective experience of what it's like to be a dog, to be happy, to be afraid, to be hungry, thirsty, all these things, right? And then you look at something like a centipede or a caterpillar, and it gets harder, right? We're sitting there going like, gosh, it's so abstract. I have no idea, even remotely, do they experience joy? I think they probably experience pain, or I think so, but I don't know. And then you get to something as obvious as like a rock, and you're like, yeah, I don't think consciousness exists in a rock. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But so there's something about how matter gets organized that seems to influence the degree of consciousness, or the level of consciousness that we have. And so this is called the hard problem of consciousness, meaning it is literally impossible, even though we know consciousness is there for all of us. The hard problem is it's actually impossible for us to ever really fully understand what consciousness is like from the vantage point of another human or creature of that sort. So anyway, I thought this would be an interesting. Let me see if this meditation works. I hope it lands, but yeah, let's go for it. So close your eyes. And as you close your eyes and bring your attention inward, see if you can sense into or feel into your consciousness, or the experience of being a conscious being. So obviously there's sensations, there's emotions, there's sort of this cloud of stuff that constitutes the subjective experience of what it's like to be you in this moment. Consciousness is different than self-awareness. I'd say self-awareness is sort of an element of consciousness, but consciousness is this much bigger thing, the subjective experience of knowing that you are you. For example, you imagine yourself as a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old. What were you doing? What was it like to be a 7-year-old? And in that memory, of course, the people were different than they are now. The place was different. Your body was different. And yet there's still this really consistent through line, which is you are still you, the conscious being that is sitting here right now, is having this memory of way back when. And even though you were a very different being back then, still the same consciousness. And that consciousness is in a way bearing witness, or is the tapestry on which your absolutely unique experience of life has unfolded. There is no other being like you, never has been, never will be. All those smells and the memories and the pains and the laughter that you can remember as a 7-year-old, they're so incredibly personal. Like one of the most beautiful things we can do for ourselves is to remember that we are the one and only custodian of that life experience that we've been living and that we remember and that we're living now. There's nobody else that knows that life in that way other than you. We can try to describe memories with friends. Maybe we even shared memories with friends. But even so, as we were having those shared experiences, we were all experiencing them from the inside out, from our own unique, highly personal vantage point. And even though the activities might have been shared, the experiences are completely unique to us. So I guess what I'm suggesting is that there's an invitation to genuine self love, self appreciation, your experience of life right now is absolutely because of what that 5-year-old, that 7-year-old, and that 11-year-old endured, experienced, made sense of, survived. That's an amazing thing to come into contact with. And then realizing that every human you interact with, so all of us on this call, we're all having our own personal, private experience in that way and have been for as long as we've been alive. So the invitation there is to compassion and kindness and empathy. Just even though we can never really fully get anyone else completely, it sure feels good when we try, make space for it, and put effort into it. cut each other slack when we mess up, celebrate and laugh when we try to share things that are funny, all the while realizing that we're all still kind of in our own personal little universes, just trying to connect. Find that realization sort of simultaneously scary and terrifying, and yet at the same time so incredibly beautiful and mysterious at the same time. The truth is, we're all kind of stuck with this predicament. So knowing that, the question is, what do we do with it? Take a deep breath in, long, slow out breath. Pushing air all the way out of the body. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and in. Out. Relaxing the belly, the chest, the hands, the feet. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Your eyes, come on back. Yeah, hope that wasn't too, I don't know, abstract or out there. And I hope that awareness of, yeah, how we all are in our own little experience of life sticks with you throughout the weekend, because my hope is that it engenders more desire for connection and kindness and all that good stuff. So appreciate you all. Take care, everyone.